I'm fucking pissed. I tell you, I'm genuinely fuming. And you know what the weird thing is, right? I knew that this was going to happen because I've fucking been here before, as has every other Newcastle fan. How many years now has it felt, has there been a story that someone was going to come through and take the club off of Mike Ashley's hands and that they were going to buy it off him? You just knew that it wouldn't go through, even when Sky Sports almost all but confirmed it about 2-3 months ago. I was so close. I was so ready. You should have seen it. I have it right now. I've got like a little get up, a robe and everything. I was going to put like a fucking tea towel on my head and I was going to come in storming in with bloody paper and cans and fucking going marhaban this and alhamdulillah that. But I didn't do it because I fucking knew. I knew I had to wait until Mike Ashley was genuinely being loaded into the catapult and was sent flying all the way back to London. If you somehow don't know what I'm talking about, it's of course the Saudi-led takeover of Newcastle United that was going to make Newcastle quite possibly the richest club in the world. I mean, at least have the richest owners. Doesn't necessarily make us the richest club in the world, but that takeover looked about as solid as a rock. Fast forward 3 months and it looks dead in the water. I'm obviously disappointed. I woke up this morning to the news and my initial reaction wasn't that, oh no, we're not the richest club in the world and we don't have more money than God. It was just, well, fuck's sake, Mike Ashley still owns this fucking football club. And the thing that first it pissed me off, right, that, all right, from all accounts, to be fair to Mike Ashley, he's done everything right. He's accepted the bid. He's got his 300 mil, which is fucking mad. He's accepted it. He's ready to let go. It is literally just the Premier League that has stopped this from going through for their own selfish self-interests. Obviously, the entire takeover was essentially done, figured out. All the consortiums, all the owners and everything had agreed on paper to what was going to happen. And the only obstacle to stopping this from happening was the Premier League's fit and proper test. And it fucking pisses me the fuck off to know the real reason why this has not happened. It's not because, we're concerned that these owners aren't in the best interest of Newcastle. We don't think they're fit and proper. No, the Premier League didn't want this to happen for their own selfish reasons. I'm about to tell you some shit, and I know that a lot of other fans of other football clubs are probably very, very happy that Newcastle is not getting taken over. Of course, why would they be happy about another potential powerhouse coming in and making things even harder for them? There were a number of obstacles to stopping the Newcastle takeover from happening. One of the big ones was there were concerns about piracy within Saudi Arabia. Of course, how apparently the Premier League was getting broadcasted for free when they basically had no rights and they were trying to figure out what the hell was going on there. There was also a really, really big push from beIN Sports, who are a Qatari-owned company and have quite a heavy investment in the Premier League, that obviously the Premier League was trying to make sure they were keeping them happy. And if you know anything about world politics, you know that Qatar and Saudi Arabia, not exactly the best of mates. So they were beefing, and beIN Sports and fucking Richard Keys, the fat fucking cunt, he basically was just like, oh, we do not want this takeover to go through. Expressed multiple times to the Premier League that we do not want this to go through. And basically we're giving the Premier League an ultimatum of, well, you can either let this takeover go through or you're going to really mess up this very important and relatively lucrative relationship that you have with beIN Sports. That has nothing to do with Newcastle United and has nothing to do with if the current or the owners that were going to come in are fit and proper to take over. How has the Premier League even got the fucking right or the authority to not let this actually happen? The shit that really, really ticks me off and really pisses me off, all right, and I would like to think if you saw it happen to your club, you'd feel the same way, is that the Premier League being stuck in this sort of, oh, well, we don't really want to upset beIN Sports and Qatar and all these other things, issues with piracy. So we're just going to literally do nothing. Richard Masters and the Premier League literally just, apparently from all accounts, from everything that's been said, now that the consortium, the PIF, were pretty much pulling out at this point, it turns out the reason why this didn't go through is because the Premier League just did nothing. They just were sitting on this forever. They were just stalling, and they've just run out of patience and fucked off from the looks of things. And I can't even say I'm upset or mad because, like, why would you just wait around months and months and months, especially when we're now in a transfer window, or at least knocking on the door of a transfer window here. And, like, that was the whole point. They would have hoped the takeover was done by now and that this would be the time we'd start investing to begin a fresh new season. Now it's just taken too long. And they're just ready to bounce. The Premier League sat on this takeover, did absolutely nothing because they knew no matter what they did, they would either upset one party or upset the other. So instead of doing the right thing and just doing the owners and directors test, seeing if they were fit and proper, and once realizing they were, approving the takeover, they just said, oh no, we're just not going to do anything. Amanda Staveley, who was one of the big figureheads in trying to get this takeover done, has essentially come out and said that the Premier League had literally just been fucking around for the entire time, basically not doing anything. Amanda Staveley basically coming out and confirming that the Premier League not doing anything was the reason for the entire collapse when everything else was set and ready to go, has basically come out and said to the fans that we need to get onto the Premier League to say, hey, this is not fair what you have done. I can't even believe they have the power to stop something like this happening. I think it's admirable that they would want to make sure that the owners and directors coming in, taking over one of a Premier League club could, be able to lead them in the right direction. I think that's good and everything, but I think at the end of the day, the fact that they have the power to be able to stop a takeover of a club that, do the Premier League own Newcastle United, or is Newcastle United its own entity owned by Mike Ashley? They should be able to just fucking sell to whoever they want to. Not only has Richard Masters and the fucking Premier League not even done shit behind the scenes, they've barely made any statement, barely said anything, given any sort of insight into the progress of the takeover. I genuinely would love to see thousands of Geordies surrounding the Premier League headquarters, and fuck it, don't let them get out until they make something. Say something, tell us, what were you doing? Were you trying to get it over the line, or were you literally just sitting on your hands doing absolutely nothing? You have failed the football club, and you haven't just failed the football club, one of your football clubs, you've also failed not just a club but an entire region. It wasn't just going to go into the football club, it was going to go into the area as well. The whole city would have benefited from this, and because of the Premier League's own incompetence or not wanting to get involved, not wanting to do their fucking job, they have fucked it for everybody. Damn, I tell you what, it's a good thing for the Premier League that the season just finished. Because right now, my mood is, it was originally, I'm kind of not all that pumped up to continue watching and supporting Newcastle now, just because I know the reality sets in a bit of, Steve Bruce is going to stick around, even though that's not the worst thing, but Dubravka's probably going to get sold. Alan St. Maximan might get sold as well. The stadium's going to have absolutely no fans, very little revenue coming in. Certain players won't want to sign or re-sign, and it's not going to be, we're going to go from potentially thriving with this new takeover and really hopefully seeing some finally rejuvenation in the football club to we're just going to go right back to same old, trying to survive and just get by every single season. No ambition, no nothing. And that was my initial reaction when I first got the news. But then I was also I don't give a fuck about the Premier League now. I just don't want to support them. I don't want to support the Premier League after the way that they've handled this with such carelessness and such unprofessionalism. And it is a disgrace. What I am hoping is that this is maybe potentially just a last ploy by the PIF and the Saudi state to try to actually get the deal over the line by publicly announcing, yep, we're walking away from the table. They rile up the fans, they rile up the media, and it forces the Premier League's hand to do or say something when they have refused flat out to say anything or to do anything for the last 2-3 months when they've had it on their desk. Maybe then it gets things moving. Potentially the takeover could get revived or something. I mean, that's the best case scenario, because if it's not that, then it really must be dead in the water unless it flares back up again in another month. But who knows? After all the shit that these guys have had to go through just to buy Newcastle, or to attempt to, why would you come back and keep putting yourself through this, having to deal with such flogs that are so incompetent like Richard Masters? I already said before, I think it's a disgrace that the Premier League has the power to be able to stop something like this happening. They should be able to have tests in place, sure, but the fact that they get the final say for any club to have such major decisions over that is just a bit fucked up. And with it all coming out recently of how it's been so mishandled, I've already said disgrace. I think it feels like genuine corruption. I don't know if this is something that the club could potentially fucking sue the Premier League over if they wanted to, because you think about the incredible investment and what could have been, and it's been stopped by this other party that I really don't even know or see how they even have this right to be able to stop it. I guess that's just the beauty of it, isn't it? That they didn't do anything. So they didn't stop it. They just did nothing, and eventually it went away. So yeah, flawless, fantastic. They'd probably rock up to court and be like, oh, we were going to approve it. Yeah, of course we were. Yeah, we were going to approve it the next day, but then they pulled out. So I don't know. What do you want us to do? Fucking pricks, man. Apparently 9 Premier League clubs wrote to the Premier League to express that they didn't want the takeover to happen, because of course they wouldn't. Apparently Tottenham wrote something. Apparently Liverpool wrote something. Again, that is not 100% confirmed, but if it is true, are we fucking surprised? Regardless of football or anything, 2 of the biggest snitch bitch organisations out there. Too busy trying to stop a takeover from another football club rather than just pay their own fucking staff their own wages instead of getting them on furlough. It's straight up corruption because they're simply trying to stop a football club from achieving its dream and actually getting some investment in their own selfish interests. And I still don't get how they have the power to do that. Where are the Premier League headquarters? Okay, let's figure it out. So there's a registered office here. Okay, the Premier League, Brunel Building, 57 North Wharf Road. Okay, interesting. How good would it be if we just had, again, I'll say it again, thousands of Newcastle fans surround the building and we just don't let anyone out the fucking building until we have answers? Because I'm genuinely so pissed. If I was in London, oh my God, mate. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm pretty pissed. I'm very pissed off. I'm pissed off to the point where I'm literally inciting people to go to the Premier League headquarters to get answers. I am that ready. I'm that fucking pissed. Oh man, there are going to be so many horse jaws spun. I swear to God, man. I'm genuinely, where's my local racetrack? I got to figure that out too. I just need to fucking right hook a fucking stallion, I swear to God. I tell you what, man. I 100% pay for all my Premier League games completely legally. We have something in Australia called Optus Sport. That's the subscription service that you can watch Premier League in. I'm fucking cancelling that. I'm going to pirate every single Premier League game I possibly can for the rest of my time, for the rest of my days. And I hope you all join me. Fuck these guys, man. I hope they fold. I hope they get absolutely fucked in court. I hope someone investigates them for genuine corruption, because it just feels like a crime what they just did to Newcastle. Anyway, though, at the end of the day, I guess nothing really has changed. It's just the frustration at knowing that something was there. And it was right there. It was done. All parties had agreed. It was just waiting on Premier League approval. And the fact that they literally did nothing. They weren't trying to stop it. They weren't desperately trying to get it approved. They weren't doing their due diligence or anything like that. The fact that they literally just did nothing, that they just stalled and stalled and stalled, that is what pisses me the fuck off. Because they didn't have the fucking balls to make a decision. Instead, they just sort of kept everyone in the dark for fucking ages until eventually it just wasn't feasible for these guys to keep their interest alive. They leave. And now they finally get to, wipe their hands clean of all this and think, oh, thank God that we're done with this. But you have so many repercussions for the entire city of Newcastle, for that football club. It is disgraceful. It's fucking scummy. And I really don't think they should get away with it. I don't know what they should face, but they should face something. At the end of the day, nothing really changes. It's still the same football club, still the same owners, managers, players, staff, all of it, which I guess ultimately is not a bad thing. It's just the fact that we'll always know for the longest of time, if this doesn't suddenly get back up and going again, that there could have been more, that it could have been better, and that a club that has been underperforming for borderline a decade now, and for so long, a club way bigger than its results have shown over the last God knows how long, had the chance to get back to where it should be. And that's at the very least what we wanted. To be free of Mike Ashley, to have the club back in a position that it should deserve to be in, being one of the biggest clubs in the league and in the land. And now it's just, back up in limbo again at the fucking hands of these absolute corrupt pricks. Fuck the Premier League. I'm going to say that right now. Pirate every Premier League game that you possibly can. I got to be careful. I'm going to end up in court, seriously. For legal purposes, don't pirate Premier League games. I'm joking when I say you should pirate every Premier League game that you watch. Anyway, this might be the last video on my YouTube channel because I'm going to get sued for everything I have. But anyway, at this point, I'm just ranting. I'm just giving you a really raw reaction. I'm pissed off. I think that's very clear. I'm not happy with the Premier League. And I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to watch the Premier League. I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I know a lot of you are just going to be like, haha, sucked in. But if you thought about it, if it was happening to your club. Okay, so not everyone is a glory hunting top 6 fanboy, right? So there are some people that actually support clubs that aren't maybe going to make Champions League, Europa League at least almost every single season. What if your club had the chance to maybe potentially take it to the big boys, win some silverware when you were never expected to get even close to? You had that dream, and it was there, it was going to happen, and then this this third party that really should have zero involvement in being able to stop it from happening takes that dream away from you. It would, not because they, just didn't want it to happen, because they literally just did nothing. Would that not boil your fucking blood? Because it does to me, and it should do to almost any football fan. But of course, no one's really going to care apart from Newcastle fans, because everyone is so narrow-minded and biased into their own club that they couldn't see the bigger picture of, well, what if this was my club? Should I be pissed off? Instead, you're just like, phew, Newcastle aren't actually going to be as good as they probably should be, or if not better. So that's good for us. And so, for selfish reasons, no one's going to really care. And that's what really upsets me. It is genuinely just Newcastle fans that are in this fight alone. And I don't know if anyone else is ever going to see it our perspective. So, yeah. It's disappointing. I don't know. I'm just rambling. I'm rambling. This is going to become a 30-minute video if I keep recording, so I think I might just end it. Hopefully one day Mike Ashley gets the boot. I get the feeling that there will be interest from other places, and so what if they don't have the resources of a Saudi Arabia or something like that? I was perfectly fine with not being the next Man City, okay? If we were slightly more well off as a result of a takeover, fantastic. But as I mentioned before, I was more devastated that we are still run and owned by Mike Ashley at the end of the day. I just want to see St. James Park fuck off all the Sports Direct branding and just get it back to the good old days, to the glory days. Get Newcastle back to its peak. That's what I wanted. Yeah, shame. Fuck the Premier League.